You're watching the She CEO podcast with Dr. Julie Ducharme, talking with female CEOs from all over the globe.
Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Ducharme, back for another episode with She CEO. Feel blessed to be here as we're starting a new season and a new campaign that I'm really excited about. For the next many episodes, I'll be interviewing experts who are part of our 10,000 Women Rising campaign, which is a campaign to bring in 10,000 women this year, educate them in the areas of business growth, leadership, financial wealth, physical and mental health, because we feel that when we educate women, this will help women rise, and it will be a ripple effect globally. As women rise, they will help other women rise. We'll pull women out of poverty. We'll change the way that things are happening in the world for the better. And so I'm very excited about this campaign. It's going to be 12 months in length. And I'm even more excited at the support that we're getting to help harness different experts around the world. And so in the area of financial wealth, I am so excited. We have Sharon Lechter with us today. And we've been blessed to have Sharon at former She Talks events and on my podcast. And I'm so thankful that she's partnering with us today. If you don't know Sharon, a little bit about Sharon is that she's an entrepreneur, an author, a philanthropist, international speaker. She's chartered global management account and, more importantly, a mother and a grandmother, which I love. Now, Karen has a long resume of some amazing accolades, but I think probably some of the most important things, one is that education and financial wealth is so important to her. She was part of co-authoring The Rich Dad, Poor Dad and launching a global movement in the financial education. She was, for over 10 years, the co-founder and CEO of the Rich Dad Company. Taking them to at least 14 additional titles, which I'm sure some of you have heard of these: Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold, Outwitting the Devil, Think and Grow Rich for Women. And by the way, I've read all of these, with a long list of educational impact and advocacy. We're so excited to have you, Sharon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Julie. Always happy to support you because of the work that you're doing. It's so valuable and important.
Oh, and thank you. And, I think about this when I was young and, my parents, wonderful people, but they were farmers and I didn't know a lot about this. And so I remember going off to college and I didn't even have a checking account. I had to go figure that out. I remember getting a credit card and going, oh, I can just go spend $5,000. That's my cool. I remember just doing everything wrong. And so when you say you're a mother and a grandmother, I'm thinking, as a mom now, I'm so thankful that I get to teach my children, they get to be ahead and then they'll get to teach the grandchildren and so forth. So I'm so excited for this. And I think that's, what really impacted me was that I was the first person in our family to get a doctorate degree. And, my brother and sister and I were the first ones to get bachelor's degrees. And before that, I think my parents had junior college degrees. And before that, my grandparents only made it to the 6th grade and then the Depression hit. And so, they often told the stories of the Depression, which kind of, they would tell you things like, just put your money in a coffee can, don't trust anything, right? Which understandably, they went through a tough time. But I found that culturally that kind of embedded a bit of fear in my mind with money and how to deal with money. And then my mom, God bless her, she always had good intentions, but she'd say, honey, money's tough. You should be an elementary teacher. Well, Lord knows I should not be an elementary teacher. But she meant well, right? Because culturally, that's what she thought. So I know for me, money was a real journey of understanding it and growing and making a lot of mistakes. But I'm a huge advocate now for really educating our women on it. And I feel like there's no reason that they shouldn't be educated. We have the opportunities, and you've been doing this for a long time. And I think something that's so important to me that you do is you don't just do business, you educate people, which is a huge part of this campaign. And I'm so excited about the classes we have. But for you, why do you feel that educating women and children in the side of money is important?
Well, Julie, you're not alone. The vast majority, 99% of the world, has that scarcity mindset because they were raised with parents who said, save for a rainy day, pinch your pennies, money doesn't grow on trees. And so you grow up hearing this money negative, money negative, money negative. And so there's no wonder we have this basic scarcity mindset. But we are in the midst of the greatest wealth transfer in history. Women are going to already own 60% of the personal wealth in the United States.
Mm.
Globally, $30 trillion is going to come into our hands. And so with it comes a responsibility to understand how to receive it, how to invest it, how to make it grow, and how to preserve it for future generations. And so that's something I've been dedicated to for more years than I want to admit, because it's so important. Because if you don't change your mindset about money, you're not going to change your outcome. And
Mm.
so that's what everything I do is to help people understand how to turn that scarcity mindset
Mm.
into abundance. And
Mm.
don't feel guilty, because you're just like, a lot of people have that same issue, and the fact they're afraid they're never going to have enough money. And then
Mhm.
when they get it, they're afraid they're going to lose it. And what happens when we have a negative mindset? Negative things happen to us. So
Mm.
let's switch that and start
Yeah.
thinking about, instead of I can't afford it, which is a negative concept. You think that you just want to get in bed and turn off the lights. Let's
Mhm.
say, how can I afford it? If you feel the
Mm.
difference, how can I afford it? Triggers your entrepreneurial spirit. Your subconscious goes to work.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, you're thinking of abundance. You're thinking of, why not? What can I do to help raise that money? Or how can I solve a problem or serve a need? That's how the
Mhm.
greatest businesses are served.
Mm.
You started She CEO because you saw a problem, you saw a need around the world for women CEOs. And that's how
Mm.
creative, that's how you help other women, elevate
Mm.
them, but it's also how you solve that problem and provide the services so many women need. And that is to understand, don't feel afraid, don't isolate. When it comes to money, people isolate, they hold in their
Mm.
fear. They don't want people to know that they don't know something. Well, you are not alone. So
Mm.
reach out, and that's what you've done, is bring us together. And you have my program, the money mastery program, which helps
Mm.
people understand from the beginning to how you can convert to that
Mm.
abundant mindset.
Yeah, and I do think that there's a bit of shame involved when it comes to money. I know that, oftentimes a lot of people don't want people to know they don't have money, or, they are ashamed that, they don't know what to do with their money, but I do see that happen a lot. And, I think if we could have more conversations about this, and let people know it's not shameful if you don't have a lot of money, that's okay. Let's talk about how you can move ahead with that money. But I do see that often happen a lot. Or there's an embarrassment, right? People are embarrassed, and so they just play it off. And I know there's so much on the internet now, which is sometimes difficult to like weed through, right? What should I listen to? What should I not listen to? And obviously we have the universities, but not everyone always has the ability to go to a university. And I don't know. I mean, I obviously did all my degrees and two of them in business. We spent maybe I mean, I had to take an accounting class, but when it comes to things like capital, investing, um, all of those things, we spent maybe a paragraph in a book on that. And I know you have you work from the bottom all the way up to the top level with people on this. And we've obviously had this conversation over the last year a lot because of Show Me the Money documentary that came out. Um, but women aren't really investing. And, I'd love to touch on that because I feel there's a lack of education on how we can make good investments, how we can, double that, triple that. I know I made some good investments. And I know I made some bad investments just because I thought I was educated on that. So, how do you feel about, that side of things for women in investing?
Well, you're absolutely true. The last stat I saw was women, 70% of their money is held in cash, which is not a good thing. And so, again, it's the fear of, I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. Well, you're losing it because there's something called momentum of money.
Mm.
And if you compare the inflation rate to what you're making on your savings account, your money's going in the wrong direction. So it's really important to focus on momentum of money and invest in things that will help your portfolio grow. And when I talk about assets, I talk about all asset categories, including investing in businesses, real estate, paper assets, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, um,
Mm.
gold, silver, all right? Also, digital currencies are here to stay.
Mm.
Collectibles, all of those are assets, not all of them cash flow, but you want
Mm.
to focus on cash flowing assets when you're first getting started because that helps you build momentum in the
Mm.
money. But a personal financial planner talks about diversification across paper assets, stocks, bonds,
Mm.
mutual funds. I talk about diversification across all assets because we are taught, Julie, to exchange time for money, to
Mm.
look for the income. I say, let's stop thinking that way. Let's start thinking about building, buying, and creating income producing assets. Because once that asset is there for you, it's there forever. And it's an
Mm.
employee working for you. And then you can go on and build the next asset.
Mm.
Because I'm known worldwide for saying assets are sexy. And they
Mhm.
are, because they become the foundation of your wealth. You are financially free when the income from your assets exceed your monthly expenses. It's as
Mm.
easy as that.
Mm.
Not so easy on the way, but that's how I support people moving into that position of buying, building, creating income producing assets. Because, yes,
Mm.
assets are sexy. And the older you get, the
Mhm.
sexier they become. There are a lot of
Mm.
women out there that have a lot of cash that
Mm.
is just sitting on it. I want to help them employ it and
Mhm.
deploy it to help them build a better portfolio for themselves and for their future. There's a lot of women out there who don't know what to do next. They don't have a lot of
Mm.
cash. I want to support them in identifying ways to build their equity, to build their assets, starting a business, solving a problem, serving a need. So all of
Mm.
those aspects are ready. And everyone has the opportunity to create wealth in their life. They
Mm.
just need to start learning how, and don't hide, don't stay afraid. Reach out. I'm here to support you in taking that first step, whether you have millions to invest or whether you have pennies to invest. It's
Mm.
never too late to get started.
Yeah, and that I'm so glad you said that. For those of you who are listening right now, and you might be driving in the car or sitting at home, and we'll be listing all these links and how you can get access to Sharon's classes. But it's such a good point is that sometimes people think, oh, I'm too old to invest, or oh, I've run these businesses, I've made all this money, but you're sitting on a bunch of cash, right? As Sharon was saying, like, this is open to the beginning to the top level. So if you're thinking like, "Oh, I don't know if this counts for me," it absolutely counts for you. I know people have also exited their companies for millions and they're sitting on their money not knowing what to do with it. So there's a wide variety of classes in this list that Sharon has provided. So if you're a beginner or you're someone who's advanced and you're looking to take it to the next level, I want to make sure that you guys know that you can all get involved in this, because when we looked at this, we really wanted to say, this isn't just for women who don't know anything about money. We want our women who are in the middle or wanting to get to that top spot to also have that. And so we'll list all these classes and make sure that you guys check those out. And of course, Sharon has a great group also that does even very high level coaching that you can work with. And of course, we'll give you a direct contact for that. And I really encourage that. I think something else oftentimes, and Sharon, this is that women don't ask for help, for a variety of reasons, right?
Well,
And,
they're
sometimes they
afraid they're going to look stupid, and it's not the
yeah,
case. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I think that we have to be forever learners, right? I look at this and go, there's always something new I can learn. I don't know it all, and that's okay that I don't know it all. I can't be an expert in everything. And so, finding that mentoring and coaching is so important. And I think too, women put themselves last on everything. And it is not selfish to go find that coach or that mentor and pay the money that should be paid to get you where you need to get, because how much faster will you get there, right, than sitting there just trying to figure it out on your own. And so, for
Yeah.
those of you women who are listening right now, don't be afraid. If you are a top level CEO, what's your retirement? I mean, that's a lot of people think, oh, I have a retirement. Well, what are you going to do with that retirement? You're just going to live off of it, or could you do something more substantial with it? Like you said, and as you get older, it grows and grows and builds. So I think this is so important. And it's such an important conversation, is that you're not done if you've hit retirement. To me, that's just the beginning, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, my courses are made for people at every stage of life. Somebody that's embarrassed, I don't want to talk about it. I have an online course that you can do in the comfort of your own home and
Mm.
get that courage and get that confidence started. And then all the way to the top, as you said, where I do one-on-one mentoring with people, helping them where they are now get to the step where they deserve to be. Because
Mhm.
every one of you deserves to be financially free. And
Mhm.
being financially free is not a problem. It's an asset to you. And it means that you can do more good for the community you live in.
Mhm.
It's not money that's evil. It's the love of money that's evil. So let's make the money. Let's do well by doing well with others,
Mhm.
helping others, and then have that money to deploy for yourself and your family and your future generations.
Absolutely, and something you just said right now is future generations and generational wealth, and, I look back on my grandparents and great-grandparents, and they weren't able to do that, with the situations they were in, but I look at my children and my someday grandchildren and so forth, and I want them to have that generational wealth. I'd love to be able to give them a little leg up in life. I did everything on my own, and that's okay because I had to, that's where it was. But I mean, how great would it be able to leave some generational wealth for your family, you know? And also, life happens, right? You never know when you can get some type of health issue, which could suck up a lot of your money really fast. I've seen that happen to friends where their retirements were gone in a heartbeat. Um, so to have things set up the right way is great to do that. And I think if we keep having these conversations, Sharon, and like I said, I hope that we bring thousands of women into your classes this year because that would be huge for us because then once they're educated, now they're educating the next person and the next person because women are great about that. They're great about sharing their knowledge. So I'm really excited about that. Well, as we're coming towards the end of the podcast, I just wanted to see if there's anything else, some tips, ideas, thoughts, anything you want to highlight, as we're looking to launch this. And of course, we'll be doing a check-in, maybe mid-year. This is going to go 12 months long, obviously, where we're tracking women, seeing how they're doing. But any other thoughts that you'd like to share before we close it on out?
Well, many people listening and watching right now, I know immediately in your mind said, well, I'll look into this later. Okay. Well, there is no later. There's only
Mm,
now. There's only today. And financial education is the gift of a lifetime.
mm,
You may actually know someone who is struggling as well and do it together. Bring them
mm,
into it and do it and support each other. Women investment clubs actually outperform men investment clubs because
mm,
together we're dynamic. And so
mm,
find a group to do this with, go through the program together, and know that we're here to support you. I would love
mm,
to hear from you. Every one of you, reach out to me and look at the programs that we're offering with Julie. And it's very important because I've been there, done that. And when you are looking at what you want to do, Julie has done a great job really curating the people that she's bringing into her program so that you can have a high level of trust. We're here
mm,
to support you. My number one goal is not to make me money, it's to make you money, to give you the
mm,
tools and the education that you need to create the financial success that you deserve. So
mm,
please check into it and know that with every dollar you receive, you have a decision to make.
mm,
Do you spend it or do you
mm,
invest it for yourself and for your future? Because
mm,
your financial future is totally in your hands.
mhm,
But we're stand ready to help you take that initiative and create income producing assets so that you can be financially free. Again, you're financially free when the income from your assets exceeds your monthly expenses. So let's
mm.
start working on those assets.
Yeah, I love that. And, we actually have a lot of men who listen to our podcast. So, guys, if you think this might be a great Christmas gift for your wife, maybe for your daughter, and let's not exclude our young women in college or high school. This would be great education for them. And I know that our education system lacks when it comes to educating kids in the world of finance and money. So this could be a great way, a Christmas gift or a New Year's resolution for yourself as well, to look at that. So I'm so glad we talked today, Sharon. I know you have a busy schedule and life is crazy, but it means so much for you to be part of this because, what you do has made great impact in educating. And, we want to keep paying that forward. And so I'm excited to just see where this goes and do our check-ins. And then we'll get a chance to even interview people who have gone through your program and talk about that and the impact. So this is great. So like I said, I know a lot of times you guys are driving somewhere, you're working out, and you message me, hey, how do I get those links? We'll make sure they're all in the post here. So don't worry about that. And of course, if you have interest in Sharon's programs, we'll make sure to connect you guys too. For those of you looking for that high level coaching and consulting, we'll get you guys connected as well. But thank you so much for being on the show. As I always say, live, love, laugh, and always be your authentic self.
Thanks for watching the She CEO podcast. Don't forget to smash that bell icon and don't forget to like and subscribe.